This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Study
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
the best
of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Welcome back to Haunted America, the podcast where we explore the most terrifying legends, haunted locations, cursed objects, and paranormal mysteries from across the United States. Tonight's story is unlike anything we've covered before. Imagine purchasing an old wooden cabinet at a yard sale. Nothing special, just an antique box. But within days, your nightmares begin. You wake up screaming, and shadow figures start to appear in your home. The smell of jasmine suddenly fills a room, followed by the stench of cat urine. Family members become ill and pets start to act strangely. No matter how desperately you try to get rid of the object, bad luck seems to follow everyone who owns it. Tonight, we're diving deep into the mystery of the Dybbuk Box, the infamous haunted cabinet that inspired movies, terrified owners, and now sits locked away inside the dark halls of Zak Bagans Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. Turn down the lights, settle in, and let's open the lid on one of the strangest paranormal legends ever told. This is Haunted America. Before we can understand the Dybbuk Box, we need to understand the word itself. The term Dybbuk comes from Jewish folklore. In traditional stories, a Dybbuk is generally believed to be a restless spirit that attaches itself to a living person. The word itself roughly translates to cling or to attach. Unlike the demons of Christian mythology, Dybbuks are often described as the souls of deceased individuals who cannot move on. Sometimes they're portrayed as malicious, sometimes they're portrayed as just lost souls seeking resolution. What is important to understand is that Jewish folklore contains stories about Dybbuks possessing people. However, there is very little historical evidence that Jewish tradition ever included Dybbuk boxes as physical containers designed to imprison these spirits. Many researchers point out that the idea of trapping a Dybbuk inside a wine cabinet appears to be a modern invention rather than an ancient religious practice. Yet somehow, the idea captured the imagination of millions, and it all began with a single eBay auction. Our story begins in the early 2000s. A furniture refinisher and writer named Kevin Mannis purchased a small wooden cabinet from an estate sale in Oregon. According to the story he later told, the cabinet had belonged to an elderly Holocaust survivor. The woman allegedly warned that the cabinet should never be opened. She claimed a Dybbuk lived inside. Most people would have walked away, but Mannis didn't. He bought the cabinet and took it home. Soon after, he claimed strange things began happening. He reported terrifying nightmares. He described seeing a horrifying old woman in his dreams. He claimed family members experienced disturbing events as well. At one point, he said his mother suffered a stroke shortly after coming into contact with the cabinet. Then came the odors. One of the most famous details of the legend involves strange smells. Owners allegedly report the scent of jasmine flowers suddenly appearing, only to be replaced moments later by the smell of cat urine. As the story grew, Mannis became convinced that the cabinet was haunted. Or at least, that's what he told the world. In 2003, Mannis listed the cabinet for sale on eBay. What happened next would transform the ordinary antique into paranormal history. The listing included a lengthy backstory. It described the cabinet's alleged origins, the supposed Holocaust survivor, the nightmares, the illnesses, the bad luck, the mysterious smells, and the warning that whatever was inside the cabinet should never be released. The listing quickly spread across the internet. Thousands of people became fascinated. At a time when social media barely existed, the story went viral through message boards, paranormal websites, and email chains. The object became known as the Dybbuk Box. And everyone wanted to know whether the curse was real. The cabinet eventually sold, but the story was only beginning. After the auction, the box passed through several owners, and according to the legend, the strange events continued. One owner alleged reported health problems. I messed up my own script. One owner allegedly reported health problems. There we go. Say it correctly. Another claimed electronics malfunctioned around the cabinet. Others described shadow figures, nightmares, and feelings of overwhelming dread. Whether these experiences were genuine paranormal encounters or the result of expectation and fear remains hotly debated. Psychologists often point out that when people believe an object is cursed, they may begin connecting ordinary events to the curse. A bad dream becomes evidence. A headache becomes evidence. A broken appliance at home becomes evidence. Yet believers argue that the consistency of the reports is difficult to ignore. How could multiple owners describe similar experiences? Was there really something attached to the cabinet? Or had the story become so powerful that people unconsciously convinced themselves that they were experiencing paranormal activity? That question remains at the heart of the Dybbuk Box mystery, and the next owner would make the legend even bigger than anyone could have imagined. One of the most important figures in the Dybbuk Box story was a museum curator named Jason Haxton. Haxton acquired the box and became obsessed with understanding its history. He documented claims surrounding the cabinet. He collected reports from previous owners. He studied the alleged paranormal activity. Eventually, he wrote a book about his experiences. As interest exploded, the Dybbuk Box transformed from an internet curiosity into a worldwide paranormal phenomenon. TV shows covered it. Podcasts covered it. Paranormal investigators debated it, and Hollywood soon came calling. The legend was about to become a movie. Alright guys, we'll get right back into the episode in a second, but first, I have to shout out tonight's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by one of the best sports card shops in Louisiana, AJ Sports Cards in Baton Rouge. If you're a collector, a sports fan, or someone chasing that next massive pull, you need to check out AJ's. AJ Sports Cards has an incredible collection of sealed sports card boxes from all of your favorite leagues: NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. Whether you're hunting rookie cards, autographs, rare parallels, or that one grail card for your collection, AJ's has the products collectors are looking for. And for all the Pokemon fans out there, they've got you covered too. AJ's carries sealed Pokemon products, booster boxes, ETBs, packs, and collectibles that are perfect for both serious collectors and casual fans looking for the thrill of opening something rare. Not into ripping packs? No problem. AJ Sports Card also has a huge selection of singles, so you can track down that exact card without relying on luck. From vintage legends to modern superstars, there's always something incredible waiting in the shop. The best part? AJ's isn't just a store, it's a community. Whether you've been collecting for years or you're just getting started, you'll find a welcoming atmosphere filled with people who love the hobby just as much as you do. So if you're anywhere near Baton Rouge, Louisiana, make sure to stop by AJ Sports Cards and see what everybody's talking about. Rip some packs, find your next favorite card, and experience one of Louisiana's top spots for sports cards and Pokemon collectibles. Tell them Haunted America sent you. Now, turn the lights down low, because it's time to get back to the shadows and stories of haunted America. By the late 2000s, the Dybbuk Box had become one of the most talked about paranormal objects on the internet. The story seemed perfect for Hollywood. It had everything: a mysterious origin, a cursed object, terrifying nightmares, possession, and a supposed evil spirit trapped inside a small wooden cabinet. In 2012, the supernatural horror film The Possession was released. While the movie was heavily fictionalized, it was marketed as being inspired by the legend of the Dybbuk Box. The film follows a young girl who becomes obsessed with an antique wooden box purchased at a yard sale. As strange events escalate, her family discovers that a malevolent spirit may be trapped inside. The movie was a commercial success and introduced millions of people to the concept of the Dybbuk Box. For many viewers, this was their first exposure to the legend, but something strange happened behind the scenes. According to reports from cast and crew members, odd incidents allegedly occurred during production. Some claimed lights exploded unexpectedly. Others reported equipment failures. After filming wrapped, a storage facility housing props from the movie reportedly suffered a fire. Naturally, paranormal enthusiasts connected these events to the Dybbuk Box legend. Skeptics, however, pointed out that the movie productions experienced technical problems all the time, and this was nothing paranormal. Regardless of what truly happened, though, the publicity surrounding the film pushed the Dybbuk Box into mainstream culture. It was no longer an internet ghost story. It had become a global phenomenon. For years, people debated whether the Dybbuk Box was real. Then came a revelation that stunned the paranormal community. In 2021, Kevin Mannis, the man who started the entire story, gave interviews revealing that much of the original tale had been fabricated. According to Mannis, the story about the Holocaust survivor, the supernatural history, and many of the details surrounding the box were invented as part of a creative storytelling project. He claimed he wanted to create an engaging horror narrative. In other words, the original Dybbuk Box story may have been fiction from the very beginning. When news of the confession spread, reactions were immediate. Some people felt vindicated. Skeptics argued this proved the entire legend was nothing more than a hoax, but believers weren't convinced. They pointed out something interesting. Even if Mannis created the original story, that doesn't necessarily explain the experiences reported by later owners. Could an object become haunted because millions of people believed it was haunted? Could human belief itself somehow give power to a legend? Paranormal researchers sometimes refer to this concept as thought form or tulpa, an entity created through concentrated belief and attention. Whether such things truly exist is unknown, but the debate only made the Dybbuk Box more fascinating. Ironically, the confession may have strengthened the legend rather than destroying it, because now there were two mysteries. Was the original story fake? And if it was, why did so many people continue reporting strange experiences? And now enter Zak Bagans. If you spent any time in the paranormal world, you've probably heard the name Zak Bagans. Zak, by far, is best known as the creator and host of the paranormal television series Ghost Adventures. Over the years, he has investigated hundreds of allegedly haunted locations, but his passion for the paranormal goes beyond television. In Las Vegas, Zak opened what is now one of the most famous paranormal attractions in America, Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. The museum is housed inside a historic mansion and contains thousands of haunted artifacts collected from around the world. Visitors can see items connected to serial killers, infamous crimes, haunted dolls, occult objects, and some of the most famous paranormal relics ever discovered. Among those artifacts sits, you guessed it, ding ding ding, the Dybbuk Box. Or at least, what many believe is the original Dybbuk box. When Zak acquired the box, he reportedly treated it with extreme caution. Unlike many museum pieces that visitors can closely examine, the Dybbuk box remains heavily secured. Its reputation had become so frightening that even experienced paranormal investigators approached it carefully. Zak himself has publicly discussed unusual experiences he believes may be connected to the artifact. Over time, the Dybbuk box became one of the most requested exhibits of the museum. For many visitors, it is the main reason why they purchase a ticket. People travel from around the world hoping to stand face to face with what some call the world's most haunted object. The museum experience surrounding the Dybbuk box is designed to be unsettling, to say the least. Visitors move through dark hallways and rooms filled with eerie artifacts, and by the time guests reach the Dybbuk box display, anticipation often has been building for over an hour. The cabinet itself appears surprisingly ordinary. That's one of the most unsettling aspects of this legend. It doesn't look like something from a horror movie. It resembles a small antique cabinet that could easily sit unnoticed in somebody's home. Yet, thousands of visitors have reported feeling uneasy while standing near it. Some describe headaches, others report dizziness. A few claim to experience overwhelming anxiety. Of course, critics argue that these reactions may be psychological. When people are told an object is dangerous, their minds can generate powerful emotional responses. This phenomenon is well documented. Expectation can influence perception. Fear can create physical symptoms. But paranormal believers argue that some reports go beyond simple suggestion. Museum visitors have claimed to experience nightmares after seeing the box. Others have reported bad luck or strange coincidences in the days following their visit. Whether these experiences are paranormal or psychological remains impossible to prove. Still, the stories continue, and the Dybbuk box remains one of the museum's most controversial exhibits. One of the most famous modern chapters in the Dybbuk box legend involves a musician and celebrity, Post Malone. Who would have guessed it? According to Zak Bagans, Post Malone visited the museum and viewed the Dybbuk box. And I believe there's actually evidence of this if you guys care to go back and dig through Zak's posts. During the visit, Post reportedly made contact with someone who had touched the Dybbuk box. Soon afterward, a series of unfortunate events followed. Among the incidents discussed publicly were a private jet emergency, a serious car accident, a burglary at one of his homes. As these events became public, fans quickly connected them to the Dybbuk box. The story exploded across social media. Headlines appeared suggesting Post Malone may have been cursed. Zak Bagans himself has spoken about the incident in interviews and television appearances. Skeptics, however, point out that unfortunate events happen to celebrities all the time, blah, blah, blah. Millions of people experience accidents and setbacks every year. True. Connecting those events to a haunted object may simply be coincidence. I don't think so in this case, though. Still, the timing was enough to fuel the legend. For believers, it was further evidence that the Dybbuk box remained dangerous. For skeptics, it was another example of how stories grow larger with every retelling. The most fascinating question surrounding the Dybbuk box may not be whether it was originally haunted. Instead, it may be this: can belief create reality? Millions of people by now know the story behind the Dybbuk box, and thousands of people have visited it. Countless paranormal investigators have discussed it. Movies have been made about it, books have been written, podcasts like this one continue to tell the tale. Over more than 20 years, the legend has accumulated layer after layer of fear, mystery, and expectation. Some researchers believe that human consciousness may influence paranormal phenomenon. Others argue that every strange event connected to the box can be explained through psychologically coincidence and suggestion. No matter where you stand, though, one thing is certain. Very few haunted objects have captured the world's imagination quite like the Dybbuk Box. And right after this short break, in part 3, we're going to go even deeper. We'll examine the evidence for and against the haunting, explore reports from investigators, analyze the arguments of skeptics and believers, and answer the question everyone wants to know. If the original story was invented, why does the legend refuse to die? By now, we've followed the Dybbuk Box from a small antique cabinet sold on eBay to one of the most famous paranormal artifacts in the world. We've heard about the nightmares, the illnesses, the strange smells, the Hollywood movie, the confession from Mr. Manis, and the box's current home inside Zak Bagans Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. Now it's time to ask the difficult question. What evidence actually exists? When investigators examine any haunting claim, they typically look for several things, right? Physical evidence, witness testimony, historical documentation, and repeatable paranormal activity. The problem with the Dybbuk Box is that most of the evidence comes from personal experiences. People report nightmares, people report feelings of dread, people report bad luck, but those experiences are incredibly difficult to scientifically verify. If someone claims they had a terrifying dream after seeing the Dybbuk Box, how can anyone prove whether the dream was caused by the box itself or if that person actually had a dream to begin with? If someone experiences a headache while standing near it, was it paranormal or was it anxiety, dehydration from being in Vegas heat, or simply the atmosphere of being inside a museum filled with disturbing artifacts? This is one reason the Dybbuk Box remains such a controversial case. The evidence is largely subjective, yet the sheer number of reports keep the mystery alive. Despite the lack of hard evidence, believers often point to something they find difficult to ignore: the similarities in many of the reported experiences. Over the years, multiple people connected to the box have described recurring nightmares, sleep disturbances, shadow-like figures, feelings of being watched, sudden anxiety, unexplained odors, bad luck, and physical illness. Now, it's important to note that not every owner reported every symptom, and not every story can be independently verified. But supporters of the haunting theory argue that these recurring themes suggest something unusual may be happening. Critics offer another explanation. Once a person learns about the Dybbuk Box reputation, they may unconsciously expect certain experiences. This is known as expectation bias. If you are told an object causes nightmares, you may become hyper-aware of every bad dream. If you are told it causes bad luck, every inconvenience suddenly feels significant. The human brain is remarkably skilled at finding patterns. Sometimes those patterns reveal genuine mysteries. Sometimes they create them. Now let's explore a fascinating psychological phenomenon. Imagine two identical wooden boxes sitting on a table. One is described as an ordinary antique cabinet. The other is introduced as a cursed object, responsible for decades of paranormal activity. Now, answer this yourself. Which one would make you nervous? Most people would immediately choose the supposedly cursed box. Me personally, I'd probably pick the ordinary one, because I don't have nothing going on with it. Why is it just sitting there in my house then, huh? Even though the objects are physically identical, researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that expectations can affect human perception. People who believe a place is haunted are more likely to interpret ordinary sounds as paranormal. True, we all do that. A creaking floor becomes ghostly footsteps. A draft becomes an unseen presence. A shadow becomes a figure lurking in the darkness. this doesn't mean people are lying. Quite the opposite, actually. These experiences often feel completely real. The brain simply interprets information through the lens of expectation, which is why usually, as investigators, when we're out there doing this kind of stuff, we try to debunk things, which is why I never understand this. So, like, if we try to debunk it and we can't debunk it, is skeptics still argue with us. Anyways, many skeptics believe this explains much of the Dybbuk Box's phenomenon. The legend itself may be the source of fear, not the box. But believers have a response to that argument. They point out that some experiences reportedly occur before individuals knew the full story. And that's where things become more difficult to explain. Whether the Dybbuk Box is haunted or not, it belongs to a much larger category of paranormal legends, the cursed object. Throughout history, people have feared objects believed to carry supernatural attachments. Ancient relics, jewelry, paintings, dolls, statues, mirrors, books, and boxes. Many cultures share stories about objects that seem to retain energy from past owners. Some paranormal investigators refer to this as residual energy. The idea suggests that intense emotions may somehow imprint themselves onto physical items. Others believe spirits can attach themselves to objects. Again, there's no scientific consensus supporting these theories, yet stories persist around the world. Perhaps the most famous example of this is, drumroll, anybody? The Annabelle doll. Like the Dybbuk Box, Annabelle became famous because of witness reports, media attention, and growing mythology. Interestingly, both objects share something in common. Anybody? Their legend only grew stronger over time. Each new story attracted more attention. More attention generated more stories, and the cycle continued and continues to this day. The Dybbuk Box followed a similar path. One of the reasons the Dybbuk Box remains so fascinating is the number of people who claim something happened after viewing it, right? Visitors to Zak Bagans Haunted Museum have shared countless stories online. Some describe vivid nightmares, others report emotional distress. A few claim relationships deteriorated shortly after their visit. Some even insist they experienced paranormal activity inside their home afterwards. Now, it's important to approach these stories carefully. Anecdotes are not proof. Human memory is imperfect. And extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But from a storytelling perspective, these reports continue to fuel the legend. Imagine visiting a museum exhibit, okay? Then experiencing a streak of bad luck. Would you blame the object? Many people do, especially if they already believe the object is cursed. This is one reason the Dybbuk Box remains so powerful. It simply exists. It simply doesn't exist as just an artifact. It exists as an idea, and ideas can be remarkably difficult to contain. Now, just really quick here, before I continue on to my next little section of notes here to read. So, not too long ago in April, this episode should be coming out on the 16th of June, I visited Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. Now, I was not able to go on the tour because I didn't purchase ahead of time. I was being lazy, I'll admit it. All right. However, I did get to go inside the gift shop. I purchased a few items, a hoodie, a shirt. Since getting back home, I mean, we're, 2 months later now at this point, almost exactly to the date, 2 months later. The museum has been stuck in my head. Now, I don't know, everybody believes in something different. Personally, I believe something is drawing me back to the museum. I don't know what it is. I have dreams about this place. probably 3 to 4 times a week, something just feels like it's drawing me back. Now, with that being said, I want to go back in October of this year. So in a few months, depending on when you're listening to this episode. And given this podcast's growing popularity lately, yes, believe it or not, haters out there, and there are a lot of them that comment constantly and message me, email me constantly hating on this episode because I mess up my own script. Sorry about it. All right. When I'm recording these episodes, it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because of my work schedule. It's late. I'm tired. All right. Anyways, moving on. Because of this podcast's growing popularity, when I go back and visit, and I will keep everybody updated if there's enough interest, I want to invite somebody to do the tour with me. I think that'd be kind of cool. Sort of a way to give back to people that have been listening and helping this podcast grow. Obviously, I'll pay for your tour. I'm not rich, so I'll pay for your tour as long as you can get yourself out there and meet me at the time of the tour. I'll pay for you to go through, and I'll do the RIP tour, or I'll buy you a shirt at the end as well. And I'll probably give you a Haunted America shirt as well, and we don't even have those for sale. So, let me know if that's something, if you're listening this far into the podcast, into the episode, let me know if that's something you guys would like to see happen. Okay, let's get back into the script. Here we go. Among paranormal researchers, one theory stands out as particularly unsettling. What if the original story doesn't matter? Let's assume Kevin Mannis truly invented the entire backstory. Let's assume the Holocaust survivor was totally fictional. Let's assume the curse was fictional. What happens if millions of people believe it anyway? Some occult traditions contain concepts suggesting repeated belief can create energetic manifestations. In modern paranormal circles, these are sometimes called thought forms. The idea is controversial and highly speculative. There is no accepted scientific evidence proving such entity exists, but the theory remains popular among paranormal enthusiasts. According to this concept, the Dybbuk Box may not have started as a haunting object. Instead, it became one, not because of what happened to it, not because of what's inside of it, but because of what people projected onto it. Fear, attention, obsession, curiosity. For over 20 years, the Dybbuk Box has been the focus of all four. If thought forms are possible, then few objects on Earth would have received more energy than this one. Again, this remains purely theoretical, but it offers an intriguing explanation for why reports continue after the confession. Just something to think about. Today, the Dybbuk Box, obviously, as we talked about, sits behind protective barriers in Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. Thousands continue to visit every year. Some leave disappointed, some leave fascinated, and some leave genuinely frightened. But one question remains unanswered. Why? Why has this particular object endured when countless other haunted artifacts have been forgotten? Perhaps it's because the Dybbuk Box exists in such a unique space between fact and fiction. We know parts of the story were invented, supposedly, right? Yet, unexplained reports continue. We know psychologically, that stuff, it plays a role. Yet, some witnesses remain convinced something paranormal has occurred. We know fear influences perception. Yet, people continue sharing experiences that they believe cannot be explained. The Dybbuk Box lives in that uncertain territory where skepticism and belief collide. And that may be the secret behind its longevity, because mysteries survive longest when nobody can fully explain them.
Send Help is now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
We're somewhere in the Gulf of Thailand.
Getting us out of here should be your focus. I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore.
It's bold, relentless, and endlessly rewatchable. Discover why critics give it 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You're so fired.
Oh, am I? No help is coming.
Send Help, rated R, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
Now, we've spent this episode exploring the legend, the controversy, and the alleged curse surrounding the Dybbuk Box. But one question remains. Has anybody thought about this question yet? Anybody? Anybody at all? What was actually found inside the cabinet? I bet you guys weren't thinking about that one. Or maybe you were. According to Kevin Mannis, on his original account, the contents were unusual, but not necessarily supernatural. You ready? Items reportedly found inside the cabinet included, now anybody, you guys let me know if you guys think these items are haunted, okay? A few pennies from the 1920s. Strangely, a lock of blonde hair, a lock of dark hair, a dried rosebud, a small golden wine cup, a granite carving, and several other miscellaneous just random objects. Those, who puts hair, a lock of blonde hair and a lock of dark hair inside of a cabinet? It's just weird. Anyways, on their own, these items don't seem, I guess, particularly sinister, just kind of weird, right? In fact, though, many antique cabinets contain personal belongings left behind by previous owners, but the hair still gets to me. I don't understand that. Yet, within the context of the Dybbuk Box story, these ordinary objects took on a darker meaning. Believers suggest they may have been connected to rituals, which is what I thought at first, right? Skeptics saw them nothing more as random antiques. How do you consider locks of hair, just random locks of hair, antique, though? I still don't understand that. The truth is, though, no one has ever produced definitive evidence proving these items possessed any paranormal significance. But as we've learned tonight, the Dybbuk Box was never really about what was inside. It was about the story surrounding it. Now let's examine the strongest arguments for those who believe the box may genuinely be haunted. Argument number 1. Multiple witnesses. Over the 2 decades, right, the 20 years we've been talking about this whole episode, numerous and multiple individuals have reported unusual experiences connected to the box, like we've already talked about: nightmares, anxiety, bad luck, shadow figures, and strange smells. Believers argue that while 1 or 2 reports could be dismissed, the sheer number of these stories becomes difficult to ignore. Argument number 2. The reports have continued even after ownership changed hands. If one person fabricated the story, why did others continue describing strange experiences? Argument number 3. Some paranormal investigators claim they have experienced unusual activity while examining the box: electronic malfunctions, unexplained emotional reactions, sudden physical discomfort. Again, none of these reports, I guess, prove anything supernatural is happening, but believers argue they contribute to a larger pattern. Argument number 4. The legend has survived the confession. Many people expected interest in the Dybbuk Box to disappear after Kevin Mannis's admission to creating much of the original story. Instead, the fascination continued. For believers, this suggests there may be more to the mystery than a simple hoax. And finally, argument number 5, personal experiences. Many paranormal investigators will tell you the direct experience outweighs any debate. If someone genuinely believes they encountered something unusual after interacting with the box, no amount of skepticism may change their mind. Now, let's examine the other side. The skeptical position. Argument numero uno. Number 1. The creator admitted fabricating much of the story. This is perhaps the strongest skeptical argument. If the foundation of the legend was fictional, then every claim built upon it deserves scrutiny. Argument number 2. There is no verified evidence of paranormal activity. No scientific tests have been demonstrated. No controlled experiment has produced repeatable results. Argument number 3. Expectation bias. When people believe an object is cursed, they are more likely to interpret normal experiences as paranormal. A bad dream becomes evidence, a coincidence becomes evidence, a headache becomes evidence, and on and on and on. Argument number 4. The power of suggestion. Visitors often encounter the Dybbuk Box after hearing terrifying stories about it. By the time they stand in front of the display, many are already primed to feeling uneasy. Argument number 5. Human beings love stories like this. That's why we listen to podcasts like this one that you guys may or may not be listening to right now. The Dybbuk Box combines some of our deepest fears. Ancient curses, possession, forbidden objects, hidden evil. It's exactly the kind of story that spreads naturally. According to skeptics, the Dybbuk Box is not haunted. It's simply one of the greatest paranormal stories ever told. Now, for just a minute, close your eyes as long as you're not driving, as long as you're not listening to this while you're on the road, driving down the highway on your way to work or on your way back home, okay? Shut your eyes. Imagine yourself standing inside Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. The lights are dim. Atmosphere is heavy. You move through room after room filled with objects tied to death, tragedy, crime, and hauntings. Eventually, you arrive at one of the museum's most famous exhibits, the Dybbuk Box. You stare at it. A small wooden cabinet. Nothing moves, nothing speaks, nothing jumps out. It simply just sits there, silent, motionless, ordinary. And yet, your mind races. What if the stories are true? What if every owner really did experience something? What if the curse is real? Or perhaps even a stranger question here. What if it isn't? What if the power of the Dybbuk Box lies not in the cabinet itself, but in what it causes us to imagine? Fear has always been one of humanity's most powerful emotions. The Dybbuk Box taps directly into that fear, not because of what it is, but because of what it might be. One of the most fascinating aspects of this entire story is that the legend escaped its container. Even if the box disappeared tomorrow, the story would survive. Millions have heard it. Books have been written, television shows, movies, podcasts like this, again, continue to tell the tale. The Dybbuk Box became something larger than an artifact. It became modern folklore. And folklore has always evolved. Every generation adds details. New witnesses emerge. New theories appear. New mysteries are attached to the old stories. The Dybbuk Box is no longer simply just a cabinet. It's a living legend, and one of the most successful paranormal stories of the 21st century. So what do I believe? As always, on Haunted America, I'll leave that decision to you. Like I said earlier, since I visited there and didn't get to go on the tour, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my mind playing tricks on me. I have dreams about the place, wanting to go and actually see this, wanting to go see the other artifacts. Something is, I feel it drawing me back to Vegas to go to the Haunted Museum. Let me continue here, I guess. Perhaps the Dybbuk Box is exactly what skeptics claim, a clever story that spiraled beyond anyone's expectations. Perhaps it represents the incredible power of suggestion, a reminder that the human mind can create terrifying experiences all on its own. Or perhaps, just perhaps, there is something we don't yet understand, something that cannot be measured, something that lingers in the shadows between belief and reality, a mystery hiding behind an ordinary wooden door. The truth is, I guess nobody really knows for certain, and maybe that's why the Dybbuk Box continues to fascinate us, because the most enduring mysteries aren't the ones we solve, they're the ones that leave us wondering long after the story ends. Thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Haunted America. If you enjoyed tonight's investigation into the Dybbuk Box, be sure to follow the show wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review. It helps more paranormal enthusiasts discover the show. Have you guys ever visited Zak Bagans Haunted Museum? Have you ever seen the Dybbuk Box in person? Or do you think the entire legend is one of the greatest paranormal hoaxes ever created? Let me know your thoughts. And remember, whether it's a haunted location, a cursed artifact, or a story that refuses to die, the truth is often stranger than fiction. Until next time, keep your lights on, keep your eyes open, and beware of the things that wait in the dark. Good night.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Spotify, it's Jay Shetty. Are you one of those media strategy people? Scrolling through spreadsheets, searching for an audience that pays twice as much attention to your ads than they do on social? Let me introduce you to Fans. And they're here with me on Spotify. Trust me, I know Fans. They don't skip, they stay for hours. They don't move on, they manifest. They're not a demographic group, they're fans.
Spotify advertising. You're among fans.